Hi, this is Roop from A&I Magazine Hyderabad. For today's podcast session, we have A+D Designs, architect Dinakar sir and Azhar sir. Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. Thank you for inviting us.
Thank you for taking out time in such busy schedule, sir. We should be thankful to you that you have taken out time and came here for a podcast session. How are you, sir?
All good, all good.
It's a basic discussion about your fraternity, not your fraternity, our fraternity,
Yeah.
and discussion what is happening in Hyderabad.
Okay.
So, if I'm not wrong, basically you're from Andhra.
Yeah.
You have done born and brought up in Andhra, studied in Bhopal,
Yes.
masters in Uttarakhand. So you have a great journey together since your childhood. So how do you feel working in Hyderabad, sir? How do you find Hyderabad?
Definitely a great city to work for. I mean, for budding architects like us. Since we started, I don't know, we got a lot of opportunities to work on new style or new concepts and new philosophies of architecture. Post COVID, there are many things that have been changing in the ways people are living.
Very true.
So all of those things have, we can say, challenges as well. But at the same thing, we consider them as opportunities to, explore many new things. How functionality of the spaces can be altered based on these new requirements. So all of those things have been a great advantage for us.
Generally, sir, whenever you start the site, new site, I think you do architects and interiors both.
Yeah.
So, what is your process of working, sir? मतलब style of working. How do you start the work? मतलब जैसे आप client से पहले मिलते हैं या उनके requirements लेते हैं. Generally, what is the process of working, sir?
So the process of working is fairly either we get through referrals or the client directly calls us and he connects with us. Then we invite him over for a meeting. First, once we connect with him, we'll try to understand his requirements. मतलब plot का size क्या है, what is the size of the plot and what is the requirements he has. Fairly, the projects mostly we do are residential, predominantly residential, given the boom in residential sector. That is the most number of projects we have. Then we have hospitality and commercial as well. So for those, the requirements keep changing. But for residential, this is the usual scenario. We meet with the client, get the inputs from him, and then we try to understand the footprint of the building entirely. And architecture-wise, we first try to get the footprint, and then we try to first finalize the contract with him. Okay, this is the footprint, and this is our SFT price, and your entire costing is going to be this much. Our service is going to cost you this much. And once he agrees upon that, then we start with the something called a questionnaire, where all is again the requirement, the size of the rooms needed, the style of the room, the style of architecture required. Very specific we go to the color details. If it's an interior project,
You try to understand their lifestyle.
yeah, everything we try to understand. It's basically a lifestyle questionnaire. Once we are done with that lifestyle questionnaire phase, we start with the floor plans. Then the floor plans come through, and then once the floor plans are done, we go for 3Ds. Once the 3Ds are done, we start with the documentation part of it. The documentation, then the construction. Then we have coordination again in between us, like
many
consultants who will come on
can
board.
be a structural consultant, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, HVAC. And if it's a hospitality project, then there'll be
Services are entirely different in hospitality projects.
firefighting consultants, all
Yeah.
of those things can come in play. So coordination is a very important aspect here, because designing, people nowadays can do anything.
Very
You
true.
have a lot of tools
Yeah.
to explore. But when it comes to coordination and transforming that design into reality, that is the game here. So there, it takes a lot of time for us, and many of the designs will change from, there can be a lot of variation from what has been proposed to what has been built.
What has been executed. Very true. Because हम डिजाइन आज करते हैं, डिजाइनिंग पार्ट आता है 6 महीने बाद, साल भर बाद. So things change. क्लाइंट कहीं जाता है, देख के आता है, उसको पसंद आता है, क्लिक द इमेजेस एंड शेयर विथ यू. अजहर साहब मेरे को ऐसे चाहिए, कैन वी डू दिस. अगेन यू हैव टू कन्विंस द क्लाइंट कि भाई ये हमारे थीम के साथ मैच हो रहा है, नहीं हो रहा है. देयर आर मेनी ऑब्स्टैकल्स, वी कैन अंडरस्टैंड. व्हेन यू टेक प्रोजेक्ट्स, दे आर कंसल्ट as a consultant, or you take turnkey also, sir?
we have both options.
Okay.
For people who have their preference of a contract executioner, basically, we give them the design consultancy service. But if they want us to do that directly, we take up that as well. So we have both the options in our office.
So, what give you more excitement, sir? Consultancy or contracting, or both together?
Both together, obviously, because we know how to execute a project, because when we have designed it, must have definitely thought of a lot of details.
Definitely.
Right?
True.
Like what can be the material, what can be the finish, how it can be executed, and what needs to be the technology. Everything is involved in it. So definitely doing both together is the thing that we always want.
You can complete that in given time frame also. If you're doing turnkey and if you're only designing, things are pretty easy for you. You can take immediate decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
Then as you already said that your major portrays are residential projects. So सर जनरली जब भी हम काम करते हैं हमारी लाइफ में सर चैलेंजेस बहुत आते हैं व्हेनेवर वी वर्क. सो ऐसा कोई प्रोजेक्ट आप बता सकते हैं सर, मतलब विच विल एजुकेट द एस्पायरिंग डिजाइनर्स कि आप ये प्रोजेक्ट कर रहे थे, आपको उसमें ये दिक्कतें आई थी, एंड हाउ यू ओवरकम दैट. यू आर डूइंग सम प्रोजेक्ट वेदर इट इज रेसिडेंशियल और कमर्शियल, इफ यू फाइंड एनी चैलेंजेस and it was really very tough to cope up with that and overcome that project, and finally it came out very good. Can you share that experience, sir?
One experience would be an interior project we had completed probably 6 to 9 months ago, where the client wanted a lot of curves in this building, in this project actually, in the interior space. So when we came to designing the ceilings or designing the TV unit in it or designing the mirrors and the wall, like everything, whatever we tried to
Complete interiors.
yeah, we tried to do that with a lot of curves in it. So when it came to the carpenter or the person who were doing the woodworks on site, it was very difficult for him to get it done. So in the sense, even if he able to produce the drawings for him, he was not able to understand and not able to do it. So what we had done eventually is we had made the drawings to a life-sized scale drawings. In the sense, if we're gonna make a curve of say 600, say starting from 2 feet to 1 feet, or 600 to 100 mm or something like that. So we had made the sheets in life size. So almost we have taken sheet prints of say 4 A4, 4 A1 sheet sizes, and just stuck them together, and then we had put them on site, made the carpenter cut the pine wood which he had selected for that particular design, and then he cut them in that shape particularly. So that is one way of doing it. And because the limitation was the wood we are using was, we had chosen to be pine, and we already purchased a big lot of it. So we had to engineer ourselves to make sure that we're able to execute that on site. If not, the other thing, so for the TV unit we did that, but for the ceiling what we had done is we had used birch ply. So there were bigger pieces and a lot of more flexibility to do with them. And then we had taken a help of one of our interior designers called Soga,
yeah. They're into this. Yes.
They're into CNC.
Yes, CNC.
and stuff like that. So they made our job easier. So with that consultancy help, yeah, we had executed that ceiling as well. But if not for that, the carpenter, it would have been even more difficult because the spans were almost 14 to 15 feet spans. So we had to cover those spans with the entire wooden curved ceiling. It was like a waffle ceiling, I must say. Something like that it was. Yeah. That is one challenge which we had, which I could think of right away on top of my head. Apart from that, every day you keep
Definitely, every site have a different challenge, but this is the challenge which will be like in your memories for a long time.
Yeah, definitely. That is one about the technicality. I would like to share one more thing. So we recently finished a clubhouse project.
Okay.
It's in RCB.
Okay.
It is for almost like 800 apartments community. It is very community. So now there the problem is it is owned by the Power Welfare Society. So it's an association.
Got it. It is of some society.
Society and a properly formed society. In the sense, people have been living there for almost 5-6 years, and society is already formed properly. Not that the contractor, the builder is not in picture at all.
I understood that.
So there, there is no one particular person who approves a design. Every member in the gated community
My goodness.
has a right to,
Intervene.
and object upon anything. So now we were presenting the design to almost like 100 people
Oh.
sitting in front of us, and anyone, I don't know,
All got different mentalities. One may agree, two may not agree, 20 may agree, 30 may not agree.
Decision was with the main executive body, but we had to present in the general body where at least there were 100 people. So we present the design to them, and then it was circulated to all the groups in the society, and then they had to finalize the designs and then the revisions, whatever it were.
So because of these multiple people involving, it actually took 3 years, I guess.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 years it took for the project to get completed. But we were just the designing part of it. We were just consultants for that. And then the contractor took such a long time. There was COVID also in between, by the way. So it was understandable.
But still it is very tough, sir. Generally हम लोग डिज़ाइन करते हैं, जैसे आपका मेजर इज रेसिडेंशियल प्रोजेक्ट, लेडीज़ का इन्वॉल्वमेंट किचन में होता है व्हेन इट कम्स टू रेसिडेंट, तो 4 जने की फैमिली से ही डील करने में थोड़ी सी दिक्कतें आती है, तकलीफ आती है. आपने 100 लोगों को डिज़ाइन बताते हुए एटलीस्ट प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट कर दिया 3 साल में. दैट इज समथिंग वेरी नाइस.
That is very good experience in terms of.
सो आपने आपके पेशेंस को कैसे कंट्रोल किया सर वैसे टाइम पे? आप इतना मन से डिजाइन बना के लेके जाते हो, 2 जने हाँ बोलते हैं, तीसरा जने बोलता है ऐसे चाहिए. सो हाउ डू यू कंट्रोल योर पेशेंस? दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट एक्चुअली.
You get to face a lot of questions.
या लॉट ऑफ या
Sometimes like you feel like answering them in the same format how they have asked.
हाउ दे हाँ.
वैसे ही करने का मन करता, but it's understandable. You know, sometimes we'll have to understand things perspective from a layman perspective.
या
So I think it's okay. At that moment, whatever the answers we give, but like he said, the decision was in the executive body. So
Yeah.
like we make them understand the pictures. Like if they have asked something which is irrelevant.
सम रेफरेंस इमेजेस और समथिंग.
So इनको अच्छे से समझाने से I think we
बराबर
figured it
है.
out somehow.
It comes down to how you.
तो ओवरऑल व्हाट वाज द एंडिंग सर? इट वाज इट हैप्पी एंडिंग? बिकॉज एन नंबर ऑफ ब्रेन्स वर इन्वॉल्व. तो आप लोगों को
A lot of compromises, I would say, we had to because of budget limitation, because of little bit of constraints by the contractor, he's not able to execute the design as per what we had constrained. But still, I think we were able to deliver 90% of what we had envisioned initially through our initial designs. 90% of it went on board.
ये actually I think किसी आर्किटेक्ट के साथ 100% बहुत रेयरली होता है. जो आर्किटेक्ट एनिमेशन करता है और
नहीं होता है सर. 100% इट इज़ नॉट पॉसिबल सर. बिकॉज आजकल अवेलेबिलिटी इतनी है, मटेरियल्स इतनी ज़्यादा हैं, एंड एवरीथिंग इज अवेलेबल ऑन गूगल. लोग क्या करते हैं, पिंटरेस्ट गूगल पे जाते हैं, क्लाइंट देख लेते हैं, दे जस्ट शेयर द इमेजेस लेट नाइट 12-1 बजे दिखते हैं, तो एक क्लाइंट का मैसेज आया हुआ दिखता है हमको, हम ऐसे कर सकते हैं क्या करके दे आज रेज द क्वेश्चन. बट आपका एक विजन चलता है वेन एवर एज अ डिजाइनर और एज एन आर्किटेक्ट, आप जब भी एक प्रीमाइसेस डिसाइड स्पेस डिजाइन कर रहे हो, सो देयर इज वन कॉन्सेप्ट बेसिकली इन योर माइंड कि आई नीड टू टेक द फ्लो ऑफ द होम. मेरे को उसको घर बनाना है, मेरे को उसको म्यूजियम नहीं बनाना है. दैट इज व्हाट जनरली अ प्रोफेशनल हैव इन देयर माइंड. बट वो क्लाइंट जो देखता है, एक एक चीज देखता है, उसको कहीं का कंसोल पसंद आता है, कहीं का उसको वार्डरोब पसंद आता है, बट वो कंसोल और वार्डरोब और बेसिक सब चीजें जेल होना चाहिए. सो ये तो जो बहुत सारे के बार क्या होता है सर, बहुत क्रैंकी क्लाइंट्स होते हैं. कुछ क्लाइंट्स मिलते हैं ऐसे जो सुन लेते हैं, समझ लेते हैं, क्षमता होती है. एट टाइम्स यू गेट अ क्रैंकी क्लाइंट जिनको हम कितना भी समझाना चाहो समझ नहीं सकते हैं वो. तो उनसे डील कैसे करते हैं सर आप? कि भाई नहीं ये हमको चाहिए. बट जनरली व्हेन प्रोफेशनल इज इन्वॉल्व, सर आप स्टार्टिंग में बता रहे थे कि भाई डिजाइनिंग इज नॉट दैट इंपॉर्टेंट. डिजाइन कैन बी डन, एनीवन कैन डिजाइन. व्हाट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट टू इन्वॉल्व प्रोफेशनल इज वो जो फंक्शनैलिटी देते हैं प्रोजेक्ट में, दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट. आपसे मेरा डिस्कशन हुआ था जब आप बताए थे, तो एस्थेटिक्स को आप लोग क्या यू गिव, डेफिनेटली गिव अ प्रायोरिटी बिकॉज उसी से आपको काम मिलता है. तो बट जनरली एवरी आर्किटेक्ट एंड इंटीरियर, इफ यू एनालाइज द परसेंटेज, 30% एस्थेटिक्स पे देता है, 70% ही गोज ऑन फंक्शनैलिटी. बट कुछ लोग चीजों को समझते नहीं, वो जिद करके हमको ऐसे ही चाहिए. सो हाउ डू यू कन्विंस देम सर, और लीव देम, नहीं भाई नहीं हो रहा है छोड़ देते हैं, कन्विंस करते हैं सर?
See, there were times where we had to stand our ground, saying that there are a lot of, we try to do basically a profit and loss, or probably say a benefits and what do you call that, a pros and cons list. Basically, we try to put it forward. Basically, when it comes to planning, especially designing and planning, especially, we try to put that pros and cons list. So they'll make a informed decision as to what is needed, what can be done, what cannot be done. If not, what happens is their mind is cluttered. They have the good intent for the project. We have to understand that it's not although it's our baby, it's their baby as well. They're putting the money, they're going to stay there, they're going to be doing their things there. and we have to respect that at the end of the day. And we can't be selfish, say, and say, no, this is what I want, and then this is how I have to go ahead. You can't do this, because we have sometimes have to be selfless, in the sense we have to try to put our word forward, but at the same time make sure they're also satisfied. If they're not satisfied, sometimes it happens, right? You want something, like probably you want a car, and the car you want is in black color, but due to non-availability, he says go for white. You'll definitely have it in your mind. Even after 5 years, I should have taken black, probably. You'll still have that, right?
Satisfaction.
So there has to be balance of both, us being a little selfless and then accepting their things as well. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a lot of rework. It's going to be a lot of our brainstorming again to make sure that thing works in our space. But most of the time, we try to convince them, make them understand through a proper pros and cons list, and they make them understand that this is the benefit, this is the loss you're going to get if you're going to do this. This is how your space might look. We try to make them understand through visualizations and make them say, okay, no, this is not the way to go forward. This is the way to go forward. Most of the times they're convinced, but sometimes people don't, and we try to move ahead with that.
Thankfully for the software that we have today, it becomes easier for us to
Yes, that's very important. Technology से चीजें बहुत easy हो गई.
what is right and what is wrong.
Yeah.
So even if they come up with an idea randomly,
Yeah.
so we can just model it and we can show them, boss, this is how it's looking. If you want to proceed ahead with this one, this is what you will get. Like this is the impact. But if you want to stay with retain with the one that we have proposed, like this is how it will look like. So then they'll understand. Like okay, so let's proceed. Let's go ahead with the one that we have done.
You both have done your internship in Bangalore.
Yeah.
So, how then you came back to Hyderabad? You're practicing in Hyderabad. So, where you enjoyed working more, sir, in Bangalore or Hyderabad?
I personally enjoyed in Bangalore itself because I was maybe those are my initial years of practice. So I got to learn a lot.
Okay.
And the firm that I was working and we were working, it used to deal with a lot of Infosys related projects,
Okay.
facility buildings and all. So we visited Chennai, we visited Mysore, we visited Hyderabad as well.
Great.
The one in Pocharam. And if you have traveled at Pocharam on the list, the one in front of ISB,
Yes.
the Infosys campus,
Yes.
that is financial district. So that one, so all the scanner piece and the one that you see on the right side of the road, those were designed by our firm. So, and we get to design a lot of tensile structures. So get to get a different level of expertise, exposure to a lot of corporate sector buildings and all. So the learning, I think, I've given a lot of importance. So that is the reason that I enjoy my Bangalore days.
Okay.
See, I thoroughly enjoyed my internship, because actually one thing I would also tell is during the semester breaks, usually have in Decembers and also in summers, we usually have like 1 or 2 months off for all the colleges. At least for our NIT college, we had that. So I used to go there for internships during my summers instead of staying at home, probably playing games. Instead of that, I used to go there. So already I know the work style, what the sir had to offer. He's Mr. Mohan Rao, by the way, and worked with V. Raheja. He has very good experience, almost 20 plus years of experience. Very good with hand detailing, hand sketches and stuff like that. So we learned a lot of stuff from him. It was definitely a good experience. But my experience working in Pune, I worked for a company called Darul Handasa. It's a Middle Eastern giant, in the sense, it was the biggest company in Middle East in terms of designing, not execution, but in terms of designing, they were one of the biggest design firms in Middle East.
But they were specialized in some sectors or all kind of projects?
Starting from bridges, roads, to architecture, airports, hotels, everything.
Residential towers and everything. The Abraz Al Bayt Tower, the clock tower at Makkah, the Makkah, yeah.
Saudi.
So they designed it.
Oh.
That's the most design.
Even the entire Makkah.
So basically, the base from Middle East, they have one of their offices in Pune.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
The main office in Beirut.
Okay.
So that office, the main thing was working on scale. So I worked on the project for almost, I worked on the Dubai airport, which is not built yet. They're going to start the project, but the design of it was done back in 2016. I worked on it for almost a year and a half. I was working on one of the terminal buildings called West Terminal Building. And the scale of the project, the budget of the project is almost $60 billion USD. That was the scale of the project, and that sort of scale I got to work on. And one good thing about that was I was sent to other countries as well. Like I was in Jordan for almost 6 months, working on a project called Marsa Al Arabia. It was in Qatar. So worked on that project for almost 6 months, staying in Jordan itself, and then I was working for one more project in Angola. For that, I was in Beirut for almost 2 to 3 months again. So exposure to different working environments within the firm. So there was very big difference to be frank, from Pune office to a Beirut office to a Jordan office. It was very different in the sense here we were like machines working in a factory in Pune office, because I don't know, not a lot of design scope was given here, but Beirut office and Amman office, which is Jordan, had a lot of design scope in it. In the sense, all the designs were done there. The architects used to design that, and then probably the working drawings part sometimes used to come to Pune office. It was like that. But I was fortunate enough to experience both the sides. So even the designing part of it and also the working drawings part of it, because at the end of the day, drawing is what is going to make the project come to life. And apart from that, also one more experience I had interestingly is doing my master's internship, which I think Azhar failed to mention. He worked with Snehal Shah in Ahmedabad. He worked on a book also there. I think he'll share some good insights over there. I got to work with L&T for almost 2.5 months maybe. I got to work on only one project there, which is Statue of Unity. I got to sit with the team and design the ticketing counter of the Statue of Unity.
Okay.
And apart from that, there's other jobs we had to do, like detailing of interiors, few spaces here and there. But that was one building which I was involved in primarily. So interesting experiences, interesting schools interesting companies where how a project at scale is done. That is one thing which we learned. I got to learn from these offices. But our firm, which an internship firm, which we did in Bangalore, we got to know very much about the detailing part of it, very much about what the functionality part of it and everything was there. Here it was more to do with the scale of the projects. That is the difference mostly.
But it's really great to hear, sir, कि a young aspiring, young designers who has experience of on their own practice experiences of 5 years or so has done such great projects. Like they have contributed in Statue of Unity, they have contributed drawings for Dubai airport, the project, such big project. You're lucky enough, sir. Generally it is very tough to get such work, but you might have got a good knowledge also from there, sir. Definitely. That might have changed your entire approach towards this fraternity also.
Definitely, that is what we are looking for. Right now, the projects we have also not of that big a scale, but I think we can really excel when it comes to scale. I think we can.
You have already done it now, sir. So it will be very easy for you because you have already worked on such big projects. So it will be easy for you if you get some big projects here also. So, and sir, like you both are architects or both have done interiors also, sir? Or
No, we are architects.
architects. BR can. So interiors, आर्किटेक्ट्स दोनों साथ में करने में मजा आता है सर, और यू गेट ओनली आर्किटेक्ट्स में ज्यादा मजा आता है सर आपको? मतलब व्हाट डू यू एंजॉय मोर, ओनली आर्किटेक्चर प्रोजेक्ट और आर्किटेक्चर विद इंटीरियर्स?
आई फील इंटीरियर जो है ना, तो आई थिंक इट्स अ कमर्शियल टर्म आई गेस, ये ऐसे अलग हो गया. अदरवाइज एन आर्किटेक्ट व्हेन यू आर डिजाइनिंग अ हाउस, आप इंटीरियर को ध्यान देते ही करते हो, राइट? सो बिकॉज when I said interior, I'm not talking about the woodwork.
Yeah. We're talking about the basic floor plan.
I'm talking about how the space should make you feel.
True.
So be it the wall texture, be what you see and what you feel, right? And how the daylight is coming inside and everything. So we enjoy a project where we get to design complete, like the architecture as well as interiors. So that we can already incorporate a lot of, I mean, at least 40 to 50% of the interior qualities while doing the architectural floor plans itself. Like while building the architecture itself, while designing the architecture itself, we can incorporate a lot of interior design qualities inside it, so that, you know, that becomes a whole, complete whole, one thing.
So it's an experience. So basically, interior designing probably is a soul.
Yeah. Now, I would say, like, if you're having a courtyard inside, so who has to do that? Like while doing the architectural design itself, you have to incorporate a courtyard. Now that will give a lot of impact on the interiors around it, all the spaces around it. So that is the level of thinking that needs to be done before. So now, Now, when you come to the apartments, residential apartments here, that's an interior that is completely different.
Completely different. Yeah, you can't compare high rise and all. You can't compare with independent villa architect.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
true. This profession में पार्टनरशिप करना इजी है या टफ है सर? इन दिस प्रोफेशन लाइक यू आर अ पार्टनर्स, यू बोथ आर अ पार्टनर, तो आपका एक थॉट होता है, डेफिनेटली दिनकर सर का एक थॉट रहेगा, अजहर सर का एक थॉट रहेगा. सो दोनों को एक साथ पेपर पे कैसे लेके आते हैं सर, या हाउ यू डिवाइड योर वर्क, मतलब व्हाट विल बी मिस्टर अजहर्स रोल एंड व्हाट विल बी मिस्टर दिनकर्स रोल, इसमें कुछ आता है सर? मतलब हाउ डू यू मैनेज दिस?
See, honestly, there are a lot of fights when it comes to design. There are a lot of disagreements, a lot of agreements. End of the day, we try to do what's best for the client. That is it.
That's the good part.
Superb sir, very well said sir, very well said.
Yeah, but that's the good part because his perspective is also valid. My perspective is also valid. Like, how can we come to a middle ground, balancing both the perspectives? Is what
With satisfaction, with satisfying the client.
that is what.
Very, very well said, sir. Very well said. One final question, sir. What do you have to say about A&I magazine Hyderabad, sir? How do you find it? The concept, the size of the magazine, the printing quality, everything.
See, I would say it's a very great coffee table book. In the sense, looking at the quality of print, the quality, the effort goes into the designing of the front page itself. I feel that makes a huge hell of a difference. Putting as a coffee table book.
Anyone who is related to design background will definitely like it because the look and the feel of it, the book, it's perfectly for the designers, who can relate with the design qualities. That is definitely.
We didn't got a chance to feature any of your sites, sir. We'll be looking forward to feature in our coming edition, sir. Give us a chance. It is purely dedicated to the architects and interior designers of Hyderabad, sir. So please do give us a chance to feature any of your sites, sir. Thank you, sir.
Looking forward, hoping that your magazine goes to great heights.
Yes.
And then, yeah, not.
Luckily, we completed 6 editions, sir. 7th edition will be out in month of January, probably in mid of Jan. Then it will be planned as a bi-monthly edition. Every year we are having a 6 edition, sir. So thank you so much for your time, sir. I had a great interaction with you, learned a lot from you, and feel very good कि in such young age you're doing such great projects, and you have in your internship also you have done something really very great. Thank you so much for your time, sir.